So, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Luisa Ferrario here. And today I am having this nice conversation with my colleague, Greg Wieting. And Greg, so nice to have you here.
Hi, Luisa. Wonderful to be here with you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, so nice. Greg, I invited you here to have this spontaneous conversation because we have a few things in common. So, first and foremost, I would like to let people know that you help leaders and entrepreneurs heal the anxiety, the depression, the chronic pain, the trauma they are experiencing or they experienced, and that and that it's getting in the way of a more fulfilling experience of their lives. And sometimes this part is also impacting on their leadership. And so this is the part as I have a newsletter on LinkedIn that is called Impactful Leaders. So it was really, really useful for me, and I think also for my audience that I hope it will become your audience too. So this is also the reason why we are here, to know more about the implication and the impact that you can offer with your work, with what you offer to leaders and to entrepreneurs. And I leave you the floor.
Yeah. I think a lot of the leaders and entrepreneurs that come to me are made of purpose, but they lack fulfillment. All right. They've built a lot of their success kind of from that hustle, fight for your life energy, right? And so they're realizing the limitations and the cost of being driven by a stress or trauma response. And that cost payoff analysis is, coming through their anxiety and their depression and kind of, the impact it's having on their own humanity.
Yeah.
And so I look at, leadership. To be a leader, in my mind, is to become a vessel of healing and to regulate the collective nervous system. And just as important as what we do, it's who we are, right? Who we are informs how we lead. So, in that sense, our humanity is our greatest asset.
Yeah, absolutely. I have been working with leaders for 15 years. I started with big corporations, organizations, Fortune 500 companies, and then recently, let's say in the past 2 years, I moved to small business companies, small business owners and entrepreneurs. And what I can tell you is that a lot of dynamics that we have in teams that do not allow performance to come in a flowing way, or a lot of issues in terms of relationships, or other things like not just in relationships in team, but also with the external shareholders, stakeholders, but also with shareholders, of course. It's something that are strictly related to the level of confidence and of self-love, I would say, that a leader has. And in my opinion, what you are talking about, and I hope that you will explain us a little bit more about that, is that symptoms like anxiety, depression, chronic pain, trauma are actually just a ringing bell of something a little bit different, and that goes a little bit deeper, not just on the mindset level, but on the energy level and on the emotional level of the leader. and that it would be a huge help for leaders to know that there are professionals like you who can help them to be the best version they can be for themselves, first and foremost, because I am for the hashtag put yourself first.
Yeah.
And secondly, because they are or they should be an inspiration. So you walk the talk as a leader. So you tell people, or you suggest people, or you coach your team to be in a certain way, but it could not just be talking. It should be something that they experience in terms of what you bring on the table as your energy, as your mental health, and a lot of other things that are related to that. But again, I really would like to know what is your point in this respect.
Yeah. Well, the imprints of unresolved trauma are creating alienation, isolation, right? It's this impact around power dynamics, right? So that's really going to sever our ability to feel connected, not only to ourselves, but those we lead. And that's going to really compromise, our ability to harness psychological safety and trust, among those we lead. So that really creates an entire distortion in terms of our ability to relate, and that ability to inspire, right? So trauma is often then organized around fear. So a lot of us are leading from motivation, which is more fear-based than the aspiration of moving towards inspiration. It's kind of the fear of getting away from something. Motivation's powerful for the sprint, but as leaders, we're in it for the marathon. And so we want to organize our energy and our vision towards that which is aspirational, and that's going to really sustain us. The impacts of trauma, it's bringing awareness to what's driving us, and then doing the inquiry to reverse engineer what's been driving us, for better and for worse, right? And we kind of reach a point where we need to build new infrastructure and strategies within ourselves. I think our ability, it all comes down to presence, right? Our ability to be present within ourselves is what's going to really provide a new baseline for our capacity to relate to, our team, our organization, those we're leading.
Absolutely. I know that you have a very powerful framework that you use for your healing procedures. Is there anything that you would like to share about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people aren't really sure where to start with healing. There's often a lot of stigma. I think a lot of people are busy chasing symptoms. We've been taught that if we have some anxiety or depression, that there's a chemical imbalance. So a lot of people are just going quick to medication to treat a chemical imbalance, which is actually just a symptom of unresolved trauma. So I offer a trauma and neuroscience roadmap, which really helps people kind of take the blindfold off and have an understanding of how to heal, kind of the drop pins on the map to locate where they are, where they're headed. And then I work with somatic and mindfulness-based practices, which is really the mind training necessary to kind of reorient from pain and limitation to possibility and capacity, right? The lie of trauma is we can't, and the truth of healing is we can. And I also work with energy medicine, and that's really helping to address the imprints of the subconscious and unconscious mind that are clouding our thinking, that are stagnating our emotion, that are creating chronic inflammation, and how that residue of trauma just starts to kind of build up and really kind of impact who we believe we are. So much of our identity gets wrapped up in our pain, which is a very limiting, constricting, stagnating energy. And we can move beyond that, right? And beyond that is a place of innovation, of creativity, of focus.
Yeah, of curiosity, of discovery. Yeah, I get that. I mean, what you are talking about is so powerful because my experience with the teams goes exactly in the same direction. So, same way that you are healing leaders and entrepreneurs, so the single individual. I have techniques and practices that help to do the same. So to heal team dynamics or business dynamics. And probably we never went into that specifically, but probably we use something very similar because also my techniques are based on neuroscience and on things that I have the idea that are very similar to yours. And another thing that I would like to ask you. So, what could be, let's say, a sign, a clear sign that a leader or an entrepreneur should recognize that tell them it's time to get in contact with Greg?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, burnout, overwhelm, emptiness, right? Feeling like you've tried every trick in terms of organization, in terms of structure. You know, you've read all the books on mindset, and there's still just this split, this fragmentation, right? And, you know, healing helps us return to a sense of wholeness. And so, yeah, I think the anxiety and the depression are all tied into that burnout, that emptiness, that overwhelm, kind of that feeling like you'll never get out of this maze, right? Kind of chasing your own tail, kind of a hamster just spinning in a wheel. And healing affords us the space to kind of step out of that cycle and start to kind of create a new baseline for how to live, for how to lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that if they do not feel joy and fulfillment in their daily activities, or also thinking about the overall of their leadership, is that enough to get in contact with you?
Yeah. I'm helping people come back to their aliveness, right? And to,
Ah, this is
you know,
beautiful. Say that again.
alive. Yeah, aliveness is at the heart of my work, right? Because what's the point if we're not feeling alive, right? And so much of the trauma of residue just it hijacks that aliveness. So truth, power, freedom, courage, you know, to live with a bold heart, to lead with a bold heart. Um, you know, that's authentic authority, right? So we can locate a sense of power, not power over, but power within and power for, which becomes a generative feedback loop, which is very life affirming and life fulfilling.
Yeah, I think this is very connected to give ourselves permission to do da 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 da, and also to empower ourselves. So I get that the way you help people is to give them tools they can use in the beginning with your guidance, and then they can use them by themselves in order to keep this aliveness going. Is that true?
Absolutely. You know, we're helping people develop an awareness of self, and that awareness begets more awareness. So once people access that or locate it within themselves, that just becomes a direct path to be able to access more of one's own wisdom. And that's the work. It really helps to clear out the distortions that get in the way of that guiding force. And once we plug back in, we have forever access.
Yeah. I think that awareness is one of the good stuff to be addicted to.
Yeah.
because it really creates opportunities. It creates a ripple effect in terms of connection, in terms of connection with ourselves and connection with others, a connection with our vision that is so much important for leaders, connection also with their clients, and because leaders have clients that are the people in their team, so they are inner clients. They have inner clients, but a little bit outside of the team that are their colleagues, and then they have outside clients, so that are those we are used to call clients. But I think that yeah, that would be great to have more opportunities for leaders to really understand where they are with their leadership, with their self-leadership to start with, and from there to be able also, I think that your practice also will help them to connect with their zone of genius that is so important. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the 7 pillars of my system really help folks kind of map the journey from pain to purpose, but really understanding that purpose is nothing outside of ourselves, right? And how to derive purpose from a place of intrinsic motivation. And that's, yeah, very much aligning to what is really true for us at our core, at our most essential place of being. And so, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Greg, just tell me, and then I think that our time together today will be off, will be over. And but I would like to ask you what I didn't ask you that you would like to answer.
Um, I think we covered some good ground here. I think that a lot of folks come to me when they're at their end of the rope, and oftentimes when they don't believe that anything else is possible. And
Yeah.
so healing is possible. Again, a lot of my clients have come to me after they've been in years, sometimes decades of therapy and other approaches to healing, and just nothing's moved the needle on their pain. And so, that was my story for so long. And that's why I spent, decades piecing together all these different wisdoms and traditions and practices to kind of then reverse engineer a meaningful, practical system that is accessible and effective. So healing is possible, and I think commitment is the most single important ingredient that is necessary. So committing to a healing path, committing to dissolving the anxiety, the depression, and really mining the gold of unresolved trauma helps us derive a place of meaning, place, and significance in our lives.
Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. So I will share your contact details with everybody who is watching this. And but do you have any suggestions for people to start to connect with you?
Yeah, I'm happy to have a phone conversation. Just connection is where it all starts. But I also offer the 7 PRISMA pillars. It's a guide that kind of helps people explore kind of how we heal the past to lead the future. So we're not perpetuating cycles of harm. And so that's available on my website, and it's a free download.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. So one last pearl of wisdom that you would like to share before we say ciao?
I everything I share is from my own lived experience, and uh, our greatest pain can really point to the most meaningful and significant understanding in our life that can have ripple effects that can really inform not only our leadership but just our own humanity. So as much as I'm helping people in their leadership, it's really just being able to show up as ourselves, right? And that's just this unburdened place of ease and presence. And so I think that's the most valuable gift that we can provide ourselves, and I think it's the most necessary the most necessary part of ourselves that we can offer, those that we're leading and sharing this planet with.
Thank you, Greg. It was amazing to have you here and to have this conversation with you. And I enjoyed it very, very much. And so maybe there will be another opportunity to go deeper on some on few of your beautiful pieces of work that you offer. And thank you, and see you soon.
Thank you, Luisa. So appreciate it. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, you too.